Carved by glaciers and filled by their melting ice, Keuka Lake is the gem of the Finger Lakes. We depend on it for clean drinking water. We swim in it, boat on it, fish in it. Many of us depend on it for our livelihood. Many more benefit from the tourism and recreation dollars the lake generates for our communities. All of us enjoy a higher quality of life because we live near Keuka Lake. It is a priceless asset, but a fragile one, susceptible to the ravages of pollution.
Speaking for all of us who share interest in the priceless asset of Keuka Lake, the mission of the Keuka Lake Association is to listen to the lake and to respond with programs to protect and preserve and enhance all of the values and qualities of Keuka Lake and its watershed. This effort will be achieved through science, technology, education, and awareness, and public cooperation and participation. Since 1956, with the formation of the Keuka Lake Association, our members have made water quality our top priority. With the formation of the Keuka Watershed Improvement Cooperative, we think we have established our goal. Today you will see that presentation of how it was formed and where it will continue to grow.
It is not just Keuka's scenic beauty that would be damaged by pollution. The lake provides high-quality drinking water for nearly 20,000 people. Over 2,800 shoreline residents draw water directly from the lake. Keuka's waters also invite swimming, boating, and fishing. Studies on Keuka and other lakes in the state showed that pollution significantly reduces property values and tax revenues. Around Lake Champlain, for example, property values dropped 20% as a direct result of lake pollution.
The $600 million assessed value of the lakeshore property around Keuka Lake represents about 70% of the total valuation of the towns and villages. So any increase or any decrease that we would have in valuation is going to have a real negative effect on the tax base of these municipalities. It's going to affect everybody that lives in the area, not just the people that live on the lakeshore.
Pollution also has a large impact on business, and in particularly tourism. Tourism is particularly large here in our region. We have 80,000 jobs that are dependent upon tourism development in one form or another. Most of those jobs surround the lake, whether it be someone that's fishing or hunting, whether they're swimming in the summer, even as much as our wineries, which represent 71 businesses in our region, and those wineries are growing, and the grapes are growing in that vineyard because of the benefit of the lake. Tourism means $80 million to Yates and Steuben counties alone. The 22 million visitors that we have come on a 12-month period, so it's really not the fact of just summer business that's important to all of us. So if it becomes polluted, and if these people don't come, it's going to be a huge negative impact on business in our region.
Preserving Keuka Lake is the goal of the Keuka Watershed Improvement Cooperative. This presentation explains why QUIC was formed and how it helps towns and municipalities around the lake to work together to preserve the quality of life in the Keuka watershed. The waters of Keuka are collected from a watershed that covers over 174 square miles. The lake and its watershed lie in two counties, Steuben and Yates. Jurisdiction for the watershed is further split among 8 municipalities. All 8 share the beauty and the benefits of this priceless asset, and also the public responsibility of protecting it. Early on, that responsibility rested with the Keuka Lake Perimeter Committee, established in 1963.
Well, it was established in 1963 by the members around the lake, you know, the towns and so on. But it worked good for, what, 20 years, you know, almost, and then it kind of began to falter. It was more than one guy could handle, and he done the best he could, but he retired, and then the new guy took it, and he couldn't handle it either, so we didn't see we were getting much benefit from it at all, so we decided to pull out. 1980, I guess it was. We decided we had to do something different, so that's when we started on this project.
It was in the mid-'80s that Bob Turasini and I became involved with the association, and decided that our base ought to be more environmental, and the name was formally changed to the Keuka Lake Association. And it was a series of studies and surveys that were conducted that suggested to us that more concern about the quality of the water in the lake should be addressed.
And we rapidly came to the conclusion that there was no single organization that breached the 2 counties and the 8 municipalities that could get into this, to get the resolution of this problem, other than the Keuka Lake Association. So we decided that we'd have to play the leadership role. And over time, we raised about $200,000 from the state, from concerned corporations, and a lot from the Keuka Lake Association members. Following this, we formed a group that were to follow it, and we immediately, mainly through the influence of Senator Randy Cool, said, we just don't have the expertise to direct this program. And we ought to hire the expertise. Walt Scott and I went over to the Cornell University, to the School of Natural Resources, and interviewed Peter Landry, who is getting his master's degree in water resources, and we hired him as project director. His assignment was to develop options for uniform regulation and management of the septic systems. We adopted the motto, listen to the lake.
My job was to listen to the lake to find out what the lake was saying. Was the lake polluted, and what could we do about it? Samples have been collected in the lake since the early 1960s by a number of organizations, and we decided to develop an expanding testing program to evaluate the lake further. Bacteria tests that were taken during the summer found that during the high population times, bacterial levels increased dramatically. 9 out of 10 samples failed the drinking water standard, and 4 out of 100 failed the swimming standard.
In 1988, a Cornell University and Yates County survey of septic systems indicated that many septic systems in the watershed were probably not functioning properly. In fact, 80% were undersized and more than 60% had not been inspected or pumped in 10 years. Overwhelmingly, 22% had gone unchecked for 20 years.
Water clarity records indicated that lake aging may be a problem due to overabundance of algae. The conclusion was that while the lake wasn't polluted, there were early warning signs that Keuka could be polluted if watershed-wide efforts were made in the future.
Bob Turacini called me one day, wanted some help in the town of Urbana because the Keuka Lake Association was working in most of the other towns but needed help there. And it seemed to me that we didn't need any more public awareness. Everyone was aware of the problems with possible pollution. What we needed was uniform regulation and uniform enforcement of the clean water laws. No single municipality could handle this problem all alone. There are 8 of them around the lake. If one of them pollutes, everybody's polluted.
Everyone, I think, understood septic tanks and the lake, running the sewers into the lake. We kept our focus on that. And so it made it, we could deal with all kind of people. Well-educated people, people without so much formal education, they could understand that too. And I think that's what we did. But we very cleverly kept them focused on that. Let's talk about septic tanks. And of course, Peter he had the technical knowledge and so forth, and the other guys understood the people they were talking about.
The simplest and cleanest and quickest solution was a state-appointed legislative body, regulatory commission. As I inquired around, that was not possible. The first thing it required was a home rule message which says the 6 towns and 2 villages would have to give up home rule. That was not acceptable.
Instead of surrendering home rule, the municipalities proposed a landmark intermunicipal agreement that provided for the following: cooperation of all municipalities to attain uniform enforcement, hiring a watershed manager, each municipality retains its own watershed inspector, share and share alike on expenses, the creation of policies and procedures to cover manager and watershed inspectors, and functions of QUIC. Only elected officials serve on the QUIC Board of Directors. That way, decisions are made locally by officials who remain directly responsible to local residents.
Late 1993, the 8 municipalities joined together and signed a Keuka Watershed intermunicipal agreement.
QUIC is unique in that it was able to get these 8 municipalities to agree and pass a uniform model wastewater law. All of the communities work together on the same wastewater law. This is one of the elements that makes the program work. It provides a uniform enforcement tool. It provides uniform standards for those municipalities. The inspectors meeting and the QUIC directors' leadership provides a uniform approach to sustain that uniformity and enforcement throughout the watershed. QUIC realized that there was a problem with the extra cost for engineered systems, and they had an engineering firm develop an alternative design system. This could be used on numerous sites, not necessarily, it wasn't a cure-all for everything, but it provided an engineered design that got a local waiver from the health department in 1996 that allowed us to use this as an alternative design. So they paid the fee for numerous times we've used that. The directors meet in regular meetings. The watershed manager, myself, provides reports from the inspectors as to how well we're coming with the accomplishment of the inspections. There's also kept up to date on how many are lacking as well as how many we've done. The inspectors are not only doing Zone 1, but they're also doing Zone 2 with real property inspections or failures of the systems there or new systems going in. One of the key components in QUIC's success is the uniformity throughout the lake, and to continue that, the meetings and the training that QUIC has tried to provide is very important. The inspectors are probably some of the best trained inspectors in any one given area in the state.
What about other potential sources of pollution that can affect Keuka? In 1996, the Keuka Lake Association published the Keuka Lake Looking Ahead Watershed Management Plan. The plan marks the culmination of 5 years of research and outlines strategies to address all potential sources of pollution that might affect Keuka. The KLA, QUIC, and a number of other organizations have since joined together to implement the strategies outlined in the plan to ensure Keuka is protected today and in the future. There is still much to be done if Keuka Lake is to be protected for future generations. Fortunately, the Keuka Lake community has brought together all of the ingredients to proceed into the future with confidence. There is strong community involvement and support from the Keuka Lake Association. The municipalities have shown extraordinary vision and leadership by forming the Keuka Watershed Improvement Cooperative to ensure the purity of Keuka through uniform regulations and enforcement throughout the watershed. Keuka Lake is a priceless treasure. We all enjoy its benefits. We owe it to our communities, our children, and each other to protect it. It's up to each of us to continue to listen to the lake.